This SkyTrak feature completely changed how I practice indoors. Instead of just hitting range balls, going out and playing courses, the skills assessment gives you real targets, real scoring, and instant feedback. And I want to show you why I think this is the best feature on the SkyTrak. Before I started using the skills assessment tool, most of my indoor practice kind of looked something like this. I'd hit ball after ball on the range with the hope that it was helping. There wasn't really any way to tell. I wasn't really aiming at anything specific outside of the center line. I was tracking patterns a little bit with the dispersion, looking at all the data that was down below that SkyTrak provides. But the problem with that was it felt like it was productive, but you don't actually know if you were getting better or not. There was nothing tracking it session over session. You might stripe one shot, miss the next, hit a decent one after that, and walk away feeling like you had a good session. When in reality, nothing really was getting measured. You're just hitting balls into the abyss and seeing what happened. That's when I discovered the SkyTrak skills assessment. It allowed me to set up 10 specific targets at numbers that I want to work on day in, day out, and track my progress over time. This first session, I was able to collect the benchmark, and now I'm going to have something that I can measure and take a look at every time I go out and hit golf balls. What I thought was really interesting about this feature was the fact that I was able to get my dispersion, my proximity, my miss, my tendencies, as well as a dynamic handicap, which I thought was a really nice touch. One great example of this was once I got up to my 7-iron. For me, this is normally my bread and butter out on the course. I have this on numerous par 3s and some of the longer par 4s. I'm normally pretty solid from this distance, but once I started running it in the skills assessment, the misses were showing up. It wasn't just the bad shot or some of the good ones, but it was sort of where I was missing and how often. I just kept leaking shots short right, a couple good ones, a couple bad ones. But that's what I like about the skills assessment, is it exposes not just your best and your worst, but it gives you your patterns. Something that you wouldn't necessarily realize when you're just sitting there hitting golf balls on the range or on the sim. And honestly, the icing on the cake to this was, once I started seeing those patterns, everything sort of clicked. I was able to match up what I was feeling with my swing with what the results were showing on the screen. And then what I really love about it is you're not just getting the raw data. You're getting a dynamic handicap, proximity to the pin, on top of all of the SkyTrak data that you get on every single swing. And now, the best part. When I saw this screen for the first time, my jaw hit the ground. This was exactly what I was looking for in a golf simulator. Being able to get this type of data and be able to track it over and over, not only just the overall dynamic handicap and the heat maps, which is a fantastic way to display the data, but then the individualized report for each one of the clubs that you hit. Now, is this a perfect replacement for going out and hitting golf balls on the course or going to a driving range and seeing the ball fly through the air? I don't think so. But being able to do this any time of day, any weather, it's hard to beat that if you ask me. Now, who does this benefit? Short answer, I think anybody looking to get better at golf. This is something you can repeat at any time of day. Go back to it and track your results and see the improvement right before your eyes. I plan on revisiting this at least once a week. On top of that, I also have already set up my next one that I want to try. Wedges for me are something that I have struggled with over the last 4 or 5 years. And being able to get this type of feedback and track my progress at home is worth its weight in gold. Now, everyone practices a little bit different or has a different approach in the offseason. But I'm curious, how do you work on your swing in the offseason? And if you were setting up a skills assessment like this for yourself, what would you focus on to get better? Let me know down in the comments.